away. During the first picks and bans of this match, it was the second ban by Fnatic, so Crownshot's going to get himself this comfort pick, something he's played a lot. I recall him playing that in EU Masters as well. And the Camille was a phase 2 ban during the previous drafts. You can see rattling off information a mile a minute. I was looking over the players during the game, and Dreams is incredibly vocal. He is dishing out information in chat the entire time, and he locks in his Braum.
So, Fnatic could go for Morgana here if they wanted to. It's a pretty solid pick into the Braum, but Tahm Kench is another one that's available. The problem with both those picks is they don't really synergize the best with Lucian, and I feel like that Lucian wants something that can kind of pair up with him to get into your face and provide a lot of lane dominance. The priority on this is to just deny it away from Fnatic's bot lane, but there we are. We talked about aggression, we talked about wanting to be able to get into their face, and Hylissang, he's going to pick up his classic and memorable Pyke bot lane.
One could say best Pyke in the world in 2018.
Debatable.
It is debatable, but it's one that you could defend. Over on the other side, Broxah will be playing a signature pick. Anybody that watched him play Lee Sin at the World Championship would have their jaw on the floor by some of the combinations that he pulled off and picked together. And while Camille is one of those early game, or one of those, combative junglers, Kha'Zix is another, and we'll see where Selfmade goes with the other option.
So, Fnatic have drafted themselves a lot of well-known and iconic picks. The Lee Sin, the Pyke, Lucian hasn't been played a lot by Rekkles, but back in the old days, when SK were in the league, this was something that he would pick quite often, whereas we've seen a pretty big shift now in the draft for SK. They've grabbed themselves the Sejuani. She did have some pretty big buffs on patch 9.1. And I want to reinforce right now that while the Sejuani looks like she's going in the jungle, there is the potential for her to be flexed into a multitude of roles. I believe over in the LPL, we've already seen it played in support once, and I've heard rumblings of it being played in a variety of different positions.
So top would be the most likely in this scenario, considering the Braum is locked in. And of course, Werlyb played the Sion in the previous game, so got some of that
jungle
tanking
is where
experience.
I would automatically
also a jungle,
expect
of course, yes, of course.
But you've just got to bear in mind, flexing is a dangerous thing in this current meta. Yeah, again, scaling, team fighting, more towards the side of what SK are going for. They're still leaving the Galio up, and notice, now that the Corki is banned, they're forced to ban the Galio themselves because that counter pick is unavailable to them. They want to take the Galio away. Now the big pick that's still up and available is that Lissandra. So I feel that Fnatic have to kind of put priority on that if they want to take away all the S-tier mid lanes.
All right, Lissandra was banned away by Fnatic in game 1. And of course, we saw Corki, Swain, and Galio played in game 1. All three find themselves in the ban pool. This is the last ban here for Fnatic versus SK, and it's a pivot. It's a Hecarim. I'm scratching my head.
Nah, it's Hecarim top, that's why, because Werlyb, one of his unique picks that he did often play a lot during the LVP season was Hecarim with Ignite Teleport up towards the top side of the map, and it looks like that Fnatic are just a little too afraid to deal with it.
So what would that mean that Fnatic were wanting to play? If you don't want to deal with it, either discomfort or...
It's some kind of tank or something like something blind like a Sion that they don't know, and they just don't want to have to deal with that obnoxious Hecarim, and I'm sure some people will be familiar with Licorice playing it at Worlds as well, but there's a Lissandra that we talked about, a lot of Freljords in this game, a lot of ice, but again, it just kind of reinforces strong team fight power, good scaling on the side of SK Gaming, and they just have a lot of utility. And the thing I really want to reinforce with Ezreal is after the W changes, he hurts so much more in the late game now. The extra damage that his W provides is ridiculous in terms of poke, and the fact that his ultimate now does like full damage to champions is so much more impactful. So keep an eye on him in these team fights later on.
All right, so Sion locked in for the top lane. And Nemesis, he played the Galio in the previous matchup. He's got himself a forward-facing team composition, and he's going to throw down the gauntlet. Akali's locked in. Now, Akali and Sion could swap. Of course, they could be top and mid, but I would expect it most likely to go in the mid lane.
You're expecting Nemesis to play the Akali in mid, Bwipo with the Sion in top lane. What kind of pick will SK go for? I feel like we're going to see something spicy and special here. I don't know if the Jax is a great pick into the Sion. A Gangplank could be a consideration, something that they've seen over in the LCK. But yeah, in actual fact, he's going to stick with the Poppy. And I like this because you think about all the dashes and mobility that's on the side of Fnatic. And there are a lot of them. There's Pyke, there's Lucian, there's Akali, there's Lissandra. A lot of interruption can be offered here from Werlyb, and he could just look to do the same thing that he did in Game 1, which was interfere, interrupt, get in the way of those carries from Fnatic from getting involved in these fights.
And I remember you praising Werlyb's decision-making when it came to entering team fights, positioning, the things he was doing on that Sion. They have a lot of tools under his belt with this Poppy, as you've already alluded to. I like, once again, this combination SK put together. It feels like the value of the team gets stronger the more members you add around. But for Fnatic, they have to fix the complacency, maybe, from Game 1. I wanted to see more Nocturne and Galio ultimates used when you've got a Lissandra, a Pyke, and a Akali. Really, one of the only things you can do is go in and look for targets.
It's similar game plan for Fnatic. They have a really strong 2v2 in the bot lane. Top is pretty neutral. Arguably, you could say that the Poppy has a slight advantage because she does pretty well into tanks, but Sion with his wave kit, it's just a very neutral, boring tank lane up at the top side of the map. But the advantage should go, once again, to Pirean in the mid lane with the Lissandra. Often does very well into things like the Akali, especially during the laning phase. So, SK have one strong lane. Fnatic have one strong lane as opposed to two compared to last time. There are tanks up in the top side of the map. And what we saw from Selfmade was he loved hanging around Werlyb. I want to see him try and invest more resources into the mid lane this time around. Utilize that Lissandra ultimate at the level 6 mark. Shut this guy down. Put Nemesis behind like you did in Game 1 and make Pirean your primary character.
Okay, I'll be watching his decision making and whether I can get in. Of course, remember Selfmade going to gank Rekkles, as well as Hylissang, who pushed very far forward in that first game. And with the likes of Pyke and Lucian, they're going to be hunting once again. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for sticking with us. Fnatic will be taking on SK Gaming here in the first official match of the League of Legends European Championship here for the 2019 season. I'm looking down the keystones. No gigantic surprises. And once again, Vedius, the changes into the 2019 season with the runes and masteries, allowing you to pick some of that adaptive force, for example, getting some additional AP, allowing you to invest in some other trees. And we're a little different than last year.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why Lissandra kind of raised power. I will note that her passive was changed. If you haven't played Lissandra recently, her mana cost got reduced because she lost the free mana hits that her ult passive was. Now, when someone dies near her, she creates a reanimated corpse, which does a bit of damage, it slows, and like in teamfights, it's surprisingly potent. Talk a little bit about it in my picks to watch, which you can go check out. But
one of the best intros I've ever seen. I'm so glad you dialed the intros back.
Yeah, just a tad. But one of the big things, or the bigger things about Lissandra is you can now just run Aftershock on her like we saw at Worlds, but because you have more agency over what stats you want, you can just stack it in with ability power. So if she's tanky, she does a lot of damage, and she can either be this frontline absorb soaker person, or she can be a backline assassin.
Now, when I think of European squads and I think of Lissandra and Akali, I have to throw my mind back to Fnatic versus Schalke last year, where Nukeduck and Schalke used that Lissandra to shut down Caps' Akali with beautiful efficiency. I want to see whether or not Nemesis on the Akali and Pirean on the Lissandra, whether they'll repeat that performance, because there's a lot of tools in Lissandra's kit that can help shut down this ninja that is just so frustrating and mobile. And once again, Bwipo fancies himself a shot at Werlyb, just trading back and forth, puts that ward down, and Werlyb again losing out early trades at the low levels.
Yep. Looks like it. Werlyb, his positioning wasn't great during the laning phase, but Selfmade actually very early towards the top side. He recognizes the Broxah is in the bottom half of the map, appreciates that he probably doesn't have a blue buff anymore, and so he's immediately looking to cross map. So Fnatic controls the bot side of the jungle, or the bot side of the map rather. SK control the top side, which means that both Nemesis and Bwipo have to play a little bit more defensively, whereas Rekkles and Hylissang are free to be as aggressive as they want.
And you can just see how the lanes are pushing forward, of course, with Rekkles and Hilly shoving all the way forward. And gives you that support. Pirean pushing all the way to Nemesis' tower. So if anything were to happen, they'd be able to react first and just fold down to the members that need support. And you can see on your screen, Hylissang's Pyke, 9-1 all-time record. It suits his play style so well, going hunting, looking for those kills.
So I'm going to make a bit of a bold statement. Oh, hang on, because we do have junglers hanging around.
All right, hold that bold statement, because it looks like the Scale Grab is being focused on by Selfmade. Broxah is going to take the bait, jumps in with the Lee Syndrome, instantly dashes out. You could see Fnatic were aware that something was happening. They didn't overchase.
Yep. Exactly that. Good awareness from Broxah. But the statement I'm going to make is back to that 9-1 record. I believe Hylissang's one loss on that Pyke was against the Unicorns of Love at the very end of the split. Right, I believe that is the...
Pinging stats, right? I'll confirm with
stats will confirm for me, but if that's the case, let's not forget who's coaching this team, QuickShot.
Who is that?
It is, in fact, Sheepy, the former coach of the Unicorns of Love.
Fantastic! And, of course, it was Sheepy that helped guide this team that has 3 members of Mad Lions, the EU Masters winners, LVP champions, to a very, very strong version 1 of this game.
Yep.
And now they've got all the tools again to actually repeat it. I like the synergies that the SK Gaming comp has put together on the condition they don't concede kills, on the condition that, you know, Nemesis or Hilly or Broxah really don't pop off with these champions that can take over a game.
But again, it's very similar to game 1. Fnatic, they want to try and find advantages towards the bottom side of the map. The difference is that Bwipo doesn't have the Swain and doesn't generate as much pressure as he was doing in that game 1. He is now in the tank situation, so he'll act as a frontline engaged later on. But SK, once again, are the team with pressure in the mid lane. And while Nemesis is definitely holding his own a little bit better this time around, you can still see a small advantage being built for Pirean and a small advantage being built for Rekkles.
All right, so Decimating Smash gets fully charged up by Bwipo. He now has to deal with this wave being pushed all the way in by Werlyb. There's no support from junglers, and Rekkles and Hilly, unrelenting pressure. They're already pushing onto those turret platings, got themselves one secured already.
And so you can see the main difference between game 1 and game 2 is that Selfmade hasn't been able to make a gank happen yet. This time around in game 1, he'd already made 2 ganks happen.
Yeah.
And so Fnatic, they're not as afraid in terms of falling behind in the early game. But now, once again, going up towards the top side.
All right, Arctic Assault comes out, the flail connects too, the stun, the passive, the knockback. Werlyb and Selfmade have a fantastic duo synergy.
So we're starting to see a trend for Selfmade. He likes enabling Werlyb. And remember, we talked about how Werlyb is a player. He liked to play things like the Jax, the Hecarim, these kind of carry top laners. Regardless of what Werlyb is playing, it seems that Selfmade wants to get him ahead and put Bwipo behind.
And of course, former teammates. Don't forget that fact. They have played together for a significant amount of time. SK Gaming once again get first blood. And this is just a beautifully executed gank. Landing everything they needed to.
And so Bwipo just walks up thinking he can go for a good trade, get a bit of wave clear onto the minions as well. And know how SK, they aren't afraid to commit. They both burn their flashes. They want to guarantee this kill, and they know that they can push that wave into the tower to get it bouncing back towards Werlyb now, so we can get an even bigger experience lead.
All right, we saw Hylissang there under a little bit of pressure. Just going to confirm 100% that your memory is in fact extremely impressive, Vedius. Week 9, Summer Split last year, Hylissang lost on Pyke, the only loss on the champion, to Totoro and the Unicorns of Love, who went 0, 2, and 4. And we'll see whether or not he's going to pick up his 10th
Just so you can see, like,
Sheepy
was in the draft, he was like, guys, I've seen this before.
Give it to
Don't worry.
We got it.
We got it.
We'll see if it works out, of course. But again, dude, you have to give credit here to SK Gaming. Broxah and Bwipo played a ton of games together as a duo. This is not new for them. But for Selfmade to find an early game impact, he's living up to some of that pre-season hype and his ability. 2 games in a row already having an early impact.
So what makes me laugh is that when you and Deficio would cast together at the beginning of every season, when you cast a Fnatic game, something that you said was Broxah likes to go and gank top for Soaz.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Soaz isn't here, so Broxah doesn't know what to do in the early game. He's like, but I normally gank for Soaz. But of course, Bwipo, he's holding his own. He's still doing fine in terms of farm. He's now level 6. He is behind Werlyb, but that is to be expected with the gank. And when we look across the gold, thank you very much, observers, you can see that SK's bot lane doing extremely well. They actually have a small advantage because of the wave. Top lane has a lead, mid lane has a lead, and all this gold advantage is actually just coming from SK playing the lanes very well.
Yeah, very, very well. Stepping up to their opponents. And the lane that we haven't looked at since level 1 is this Lissandra Akali matchup. Both have access to their ultimates. It's a plus 15 CSD. I'd like to point out again that in Nemesis' second game in a row, there's some challenges in the early laning phase, so don't overreact in terms of how the laning phase is going. But we need to see how he plays the rest of the game as Crownshot gets jumped on. Now, ultimate is available for Selfmade, but True Shot Barrage is dodged away from one fan in the audience like that for Endless Pursuit. Thank you for that. Woo! I appreciated it. And SK Gaming, they're still fishing for more opportunities.
They look at Broxah, he's hanging around Hylissang, the vision's being cleared out. I love how Selfmade is just utilizing the pressure so effectively. Frost talked a lot about how he's a very smart jungler. He knows how to move around the map, and he's looking to try and punish Fnatic down towards the bot side. He knows he has a pushing mid, he has a bot lane that's in a good position. And again, we just see a bit of trading back and forth. But I really feel like Selfmade is just reading Broxah beautifully right now.
Well, Selfmade's reading the entire game. Werlyb actually throws down the ultimate. Not going to chase further, though. Bwipo still needs to get through that passive. There's a minion wave as well to deal with. So Werlyb staying even on CS. And Broxah is just fishing for opportunities. And Skewer will find at least a target onto Dreams, but there's just not enough there. Flash is available for Dreams and Crownshot, as well as stand behind me and Arcane Shift. So it's a difficult duo to gank. And SK Gaming pull ahead 600 gold over Fnatic.
So, let's kind of look at these comps holistically. Wait, we might have to wait because, again, Selfmade trying to be proactive on the map.
Prison.
He has
Oh man, I hate it when Sejuani and Braum get together. Glacial Prison, Glacial Fissure, Glacial Augment, Glacial Kills! SK Gaming get themselves two.
Ooh, Hylissang with a bad case of frostbite right there as SK find themselves another quick kill. Beautifully done. Their gold lead is getting bigger and bigger, but now we see Fnatic answer back in the top lane.
Well, definitely not the most ambitious of ganks. Rekkles, though, he fancies himself an attempt here onto Crownshot. The culling goes out, gets a decent chunk onto Crownshot, but not enough to do more than just push him backwards. SK Gaming duo, Sejuani and Braum beautifully into. This is just a repeat of game one. A gank in the bottom lane getting an advantage.
And so just look at the minimap right now. Selfmade knows he's safe to make this play because he has pressure top and mid. And this is the thing that I really want to reinforce about the current meta. Utilizing pressure is a good indication of the strength of a team. And Selfmade is just so good at recognizing what is going on the map, where he can take advantage of, even on Sejuani, a champion that is expected to scale, be more valuable in team fights. Not supposed to be that Xin Zhao early game ganking. Yep. He has made 2 ganks happen quicker and more effectively than Broxah has been able to so far on his signature Lee Sin pick.
What I love, and I know we've said this a lot, remember it's week 1 of the league, we really want to just help viewers know where these players come from, but when 3/5 of an EU Masters champion and LVP champion set up on the stage, 2 games in a row, they win the early game against Fnatic. This is a testament not only to what that Mad Lions squad was, but also to the LVP and the Spanish leagues and the European regional leagues here in Europe. Because it's beautiful, it makes me smile and so happy. And of course, just so you know, Dreams as well, he was playing for Vitality Academy and has a number of tournament titles under his belt as well. And then, of course, you've got Pirean, who was a substitute for SKT. So you've added some highly skilled players who are used to being very successful. And it's working out. It's a 1,000 gold advantage at 11 minutes, and it's SK still with the pressure.
Now, I do want to remind people that kind of when you look at Broxah and you're like, well, he's playing Lee Sin, he should be ganking a lot. Naturally, it's challenging. You did talk a little bit about how there's so much mobility on the bot side of the map for SK, which means that setting up that gank is much harder than it initially looks. But we haven't really seen Broxah set that much up. He tried to make something happen at level 2. He tried to make something happen at level 6, but nothing has really come from it, and now he's hanging around the bot side. He should be able to counter-gank SK as they send 4 members down to the bot lane.
All right, Bone Skewer's going to need to get channeled up, and look at this, Hylissang's already dead before he can do anything at all. SK Gaming send him for a swim. 3 kills to 0.
Selfmade's really good, man. Selfmade's really good. I'm very impressed with what Selfmade is showing us right now. So, Pirean, he rotated from the mid lane behind his jungler. That all started because Hylissang was just trying to defend a control ward. He didn't have the support in order to properly defend it, which means that he got punished. Now SK, they have their eyes set on the Dragon. They're sitting at about a 2,000 gold lead, and even after a remake had to be made, even after SK were primed and ready to find a win over Fnatic, they had to reset, they have a new draft, and they're doing it all over again.
It's beautiful. They're just not tilting under the pressure. They're showing the quality and the caliber of the players. And look at this, despite Broxah seeing Selfmade and Dreams chasing Hilly, SK Gaming still make this work.
Yeah, so you can see here Dreams, he's like, oh, well, I have a mid laner coming. The bot lane is pretty neutral. The only thing I have to be worried about is Broxah, but you know what? I have more numbers than you do. And Hylissang, he makes the mistake. He thinks he can hook Dreams under the tower. He's too close. He doesn't channel the Q for long enough, which means that the collapse can come down from SK, and they find themselves another kill, and it goes onto Crownshot. So that bot lane that we talked about for Fnatic, the lane that they need to be snowballing, the lane that they need to be playing around, if we can flip over to the gold, can see that I think it actually starts to go in favor of Crownshot.
Well, there we go, plus 300 gold. Crownshot's a great name, by the way. I haven't said it yet. Could be cousins of mine one day. Doing very well. 1-0-1 on this Ezreal. He's got that Iceborne draw that picked up. I know you did. It's all right. You're the youthful one here. I will teach you and train you.
I was like, Crash, is that because you say crowns a lot? I don't get it.
Well, he's got his first item picked up, and now so has everybody else. Gunblade secured for Akali. Blade of the Rune King has been with Rekkles for a little while, as well as a proto belt for Pirean. So it's only really Werlyb that's looking to complete up in that top lane. But for the time being, SK once again extremely happy. They're happy to go into the mid to late game, and they know they've got some scaling options on their side.
So, because SK have been doing a lot, we've been talking a lot about SK, let's look again at Fnatic. What are their options? What can they do? Well, the mid game is still very strong for them. Lucian and Akali, especially once Akali completes that Gunblade, is very potent, and you have to respect her. Nemesis has demonstrated his ability to do great things on playmaking champions, and mid game fights is where we should see Fnatic trying to come back into this game, utilizing their mobility, looking for picks. But it might be Hylissang that gets picked instead.
Oh man, Hylissang's been killed by Sheepy before, and Sheepy's looking to do it again. 0-3-0. This Pyke is just getting picked on.
And I'm so impressed with SK's utilization of vision. Oh, Pyke, you want to try and clear this one out? Well, tough luck. You can see that he has no vision in the river. He can see nothing. He's aware that Selfmade and the Pirean are around, but he doesn't respect it. And he ends up getting punished instead. He even has his flash available. Hylissang drops. SK find themselves another kill, and this time it goes over to Pirean.
You know what? I'm still so impressed. Fnatic at 15 minutes are down 2,000 gold. And we haven't seen Nemesis get involved just yet. As you've already alluded to,
top side.
level 11 is activated for Nemesis. There's a lot of Fnatic members coming up top. All right, Werlyb's going to be in trouble. The culling's going to be available to Rekkles. A full channel will most likely pick up a kill here. 1-2 turret shots. The stopwatch under the tower. Here comes Bwipo. Kill secured by Hylissang, and a lot of tower damage is already locked down. That's a dash forward. There is Pirean. Now joins the fight. Ring of Frost comes out. Gonna need to throw the ultimate zone cooldown. Can't do so yet. The Ice Shard will not find the rage necessary. All right, Rift Herald was also picked up by Fnatic. They've got 2 kills already, and they're not done yet. Selfmade is now under trouble. Bone Skewer gets pulled backwards, and Broxah is gonna go on the hunt. He needs to find that kick. He needs to find the damage. Hylissang steps forward, looking to body block. Selfmade goes down. Fnatic find 3, and Berlin erupt behind them.
And this is how Fnatic get back into this game. The swap from Rekkles to bot lane to top lane enables them to find this great pick and turn it into more and more kills. Now, Werlyb in a 1v3.
All right, this is a bold move. Of course, Werlyb teleports in, but what is the pressure play? Crownshot and Dreams have got the inner turrets in the bottom lane, and Werlyb may just be donating yet another kill. He's trying to run for his life. Dash back in. The shield's up, and he won't find a reply. 2-1-2 for Bwipo.
And what was a big lead for SK is now starting to dwindle as Fnatic answer back. These are the kind of picks they're looking for. These are the small skirmishes that they need in order to regain control over the map. SK did find themselves 2 towers down in the bot lane. That is still very valuable, but the kills, the shutdown, the pressure that Fnatic has gained off the back of that is definitely a big advantage for them.
Very nicely done by Fnatic. They claw the gold difference back. It's a 500 gold game. And because of Bwipo's play, he now also has a 450 gold bounty. He is also plus 400 gold up over Werlyb, despite the strong start. And of course, for SK Gaming, most of the kills and assists are located on Selfmade. He's got 100% kill participation. He is by far my most impressive SK player thus far of the games we've seen. And of course, this is how the action all started.
So Werlyb doesn't recognize that the swap is happening. He notices too late that Rekkles has arrived in the top lane. Rekkles is very patient, avoids the interrupt of his dashes, and while Werlyb tries to escape and uses a good stopwatch, unfortunately it's not enough against Hylissang and the squad that join him. Now the TP just comes in very late. If it had come in earlier, maybe they could have done more to turn this around, but we don't have time for the rest of the replay because we've got more action happening.
We do indeed. It's Pirean. He's already killed. Already used the ultimate. Didn't see the setup on that one. Important to note that while we were in the replay, SK Gaming secured their 3rd tower of the game. 2 down bot lane, 1 up top. Fnatic also have 3 towers to their name. That's all outer turrets, and that was what allowed them to push. We can only assume Pirean was trying to defend that mid tower.
Yes, he certainly was. He didn't have his flash available, and now Fnatic are suddenly back in control over the map. They're going to grab themselves the Mountain Drake, and you can see you know, we talked about how SK had a great start. We then talked about how Fnatic get back into the game, and it was those picks that they were able to find. They find another one onto Pirean, and now more items will start to come through. That mid-game that they've been waiting for is in a much better position than it was in game 1.
And that's exactly what Fnatic were unable to do in the first game. You know, that Nocturne Galio wasn't able to find those initiations or those skirmishes and make them go Fnatic's way. This time around, Bwipo on Sion, Broxah on Lee Sin are making it work, and this is going to be a replay. All right, so the tower had already fallen, and this is Pirean just getting caught out by what looks like a really good play by Nemesis, landing everything.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if Pirean intended to use that ultimate there, because it did freeze him in place to then get locked down, but I think he also just didn't respect the damage from Nemesis, who is now with the Gunblade again. You're seeing how strong this Akali is with that item completed.
All right, Werlyb gets the wall stun, and then throws out the Poppycopter. That's just enough to buy some time. Here comes Selfmade now. Werlyb is going to be trying to use that Keeper's Verdict to stop some time. We've got a Chaos in the bottom lane. Dreams running for his life. Stand behind me. He yells. Doesn't end up behind Crownshot. Now, Crownshot with a red buff can do a lot of work and is trying to back away. Glacial Tomb, rather, Frozen Tomb is available for Pirean's Lissandra. Just waiting for the initiation to break out. It doesn't happen yet. It's still a tie game in kills, tie game in dragons, and tie game in towers.
Surprised SK were able to get out of that situation with all of their members intact. Fnatic now have control over the bot side river, now are the ones with the pushing lanes, and they're the ones dictating the pace of the game. SK, they need to show respect at this point in the game because Fnatic are that much stronger.
All right, Selfmade's ulti's up. He doesn't have flash. And as we crest 20 minutes, we've got 10 kills on the board, a lot of skirmishes, a lot of fights. From the games that I've seen from LPL and LCK, this feels a little more similar. You know, more action, more skirmishes early. Game 1 was relatively slow-paced from what I've been seeing in 9.1 around the world. And now it's up to SK on a more even footing to show us they can also play the mid-game while at the same sort of situation as Fnatic.
And that's where things get difficult. They need to make sure they stay together. TP coming in mid, Werlyb looking for a flank. Ulti is available for Selfmade.
All right, Werlyb puts down a ward, spots out Broxah, and instantly backs away. While that's going on, Bwipo's ult will become available, and he has teleport, and he's shoving down bottom lane. Bone Skewer from Hylissang does a little bit of work, but it won't be enough to stop the tower going down. And Nemesis is looking for initiation. Throws out some damage on that 5-point strike, but doesn't chase any further, and SK content with their 4th tower of the game.
And so there's a lot of farm that's now just going to the tower in the bot lane. SK won't be able to pick that one up, and it's good from Bwipo to utilize the teleport advantage that he has, but Fnatic did end up losing that mid-tier one, so SK hold the gold advantage ever so slightly, but it still feels to me like Fnatic have a lot more map control. The loss of the mid tower will definitely help SK, but still, very close game, definitely a very different situation compared to the game before.
Yeah, absolutely the case. And if you have just joined us, welcome back to the LEC. Game 1 of the Spring Split was remade due to some connectivity issues, and in the scenario we find ourselves, SK Gaming are plus 600 gold over Fnatic. There's a Cloud Drake spawning in a minute and a half with 7 towers down. This map is actually pretty dark unless you start seeing some wards being placed. So Fnatic are extending this vision line, pushing into SK's territory, and then trying to decide which of these lanes they'll shove in. Bwipo was pushing bottom, that's now been pushed back towards him, and Fnatic are playing the top off the map.
Oh, here comes the engage.
All right, Hylissang is likely going to get blown up. He manages to escape with his life for now. Pirean goes in, his ultimate's already been used. Ice Shot goes out, he's going low. That's the Poppycopter, that's going to block one away. Broxah's low, but it's already down. Pirean's out for the count. Nemesis looking to hunt a little bit more as Hylissang re-engages, finds the stun onto Werlyb. Fnatic get 3 quick kills in the mid lane.
And this time Fnatic get the teamfight execution that they were looking for. The engage did come out from SK. They weren't able to kill Hylissang fast enough, and then the turnaround from Fnatic was swift and brutal. 3 kills in favor of Fnatic.
Really nicely done. They're not done yet. Hylissang's looking for a hunt. Not going to find the skewer onto Dreams, and Fnatic set themselves up for Baron. Now, Selfmade is alive with both Flash and Smite, and they're going to get some damage onto Hill. He's going to be able to dash away to safety. This Baron will take some time, and Fnatic will go quite low.
Nemesis goes over the wall.
Dash over the wall. He's got perfect execution available to him. Here comes Pirean. Flash over. Now Nemesis is going to turn his attention to Pirean. True Shot Barrage flies across the Fnatic members. Baron helping out SK Gaming, and Pirean's ultimate's on cooldown. He can't find the kill onto Hylissang. He's now pushed away. Nemesis takes down Pirean, but SK Gaming stopped the Baron. Remember that the minions, they will continue to scale, and Baron plus those minions could just be the end of the game. SK have bought themselves some crucial time.
But it's just more gold and more kills going over to Fnatic, which is always going to be a big advantage for them. So here's the engage. They're looking for Rekkles, but Hylissang gets in the way. You can see that the engage from Pirean is good, but the follow-up isn't there because of the flank from Bwipo. The teleport is a little too late from Werlyb. He can't get into the thick of things, and then the positioning from Rekkles was enough that he could consistently dish out damage this time around. This is what he struggled so much with in Game 1, and it was largely because Bwipo got to the fight faster than Werlyb did, so his threat was that much more significant than what the Poppy could offer.
Now, what do you make of this Baron play? The fact that SK committed a lot of resources, they did stop the Baron. And how much does this hurt them losing that TP?
I mean, I think they overcommitted just a little too much. I think they could have been a little more patient. I know they had to show respect to Nemesis, but I guess like they were just more concerned about not giving away Baron than they were about giving away kills and giving away TP. Fnatic now have the ability to just threaten the Baron a lot more. But at the end of the day, they did stop the objective. The game's not completely over yet for SK, and while the gold advantage is starting to snowball in favor of Fnatic, they still have a way back in.
Well, if you just do the math, right, SK Gaming are behind around 2,500 gold, and the bounty system on every single member of Fnatic, as soon as we get the scoreboard back up, you'll see 600 gold, 500 gold, 400 gold, 400 gold. So Fnatic, there we go. There is a lot of bounties to be gained if SK Gaming can get themselves a few kills. While I was waffling about bounties, the bottom turret did fall to minions despite Werlyb's best efforts, and Fnatic right now are doing exceptionally well. Hylissang's got himself that Yomu's Ghostblade completed, and 236, considering he was 0-3-0 at one point, this is a great turnaround for Hylissang's Pyke in the mid game.
So the thing is, for SK, a lot of their gold is sitting on Crownshot right now, and while he's in a great position, you know, he looks really strong. So far, his Ezreal has been very good this game. It's really difficult for an Ezreal to get through a Sion frontline. And when you kind of compare that to Rekkles, who he has a lot of mobility and he just kind of has to stay out of range of all this CC that's flying for his head, then the team fights are just much easier to execute for Rekkles than they are for Crownshot. So a lot of pressure, unfortunately, falls on his shoulder to somehow get around this Sion and be the big damage dealer that SK need in order to win out on these fights.
I mean, the advantage that SK, in my mind, want to try to look for is getting one of those squishier champions, Broxah, Nemesis, Rekkles, Hilly, because we saw how quickly Hylissang goes down when he's focused properly. He's only sitting on 1300 HP, but this time around, it's Bwipo that's going for the initiation! He's in the middle of SK Gaming! Werlyb has bought some time, but look at that! Swing and a miss times two, as both Sejuani and Ezreal do not hit a single target. SK Gaming are running for their lives, and Crownshot, with those mystic shots, can buy some time thanks to Iceborne Gauntlet. But SK are in trouble. They've got some key ultimates on cooldown, as Fnatic are threatening Baron.
Exactly that, QuickShot. With a lot of ultis down, Fnatic are just repositioning around the Baron, clearing out the vision. They know they have the pressure. The question is whether or not they want to run the risk of starting it. These cooldowns are not that long. Pirean does have his ulti along with Dreams as well. And Fnatic, while they do have Sion to soak up the damage of the Baron, it's still a big gamble. So instead, they're looking for another engage.
All right, looks like that Righteous Glory was thrown down by Bwipo. He's going to jump on a Selfmade, who's able to assault himself optically away, get to safety. Now his ultimate's still on cooldown. Crownshot's got the True Shot Barrage back up. And Fnatic are not going to overcommit to a team fight. If they get caught in a pit, it can go bad because of SK's team fighting power.
Fnatic know, though, that there's a big wave pushing in bot, so if they can just get the push on mid, it means they can start a fight or threaten the Baron.
All right, Pirean takes a lot of damage, but they're chunking down Bwipo. Bone Skewer catches onto Dreams. Broxah was looking for an opportunity, didn't find it. That's a shutdown. That's already a bounty gold off of Broxah, but look at Rekkles. He's forced to flash. Here comes Selfmade, swinging that flail around. Werlyb continues to chase. His keeper's vertical be available so soon. The beautiful start! Rekkles is down! SK Gaming get two huge bounties, and they bounce right back.
And the moment the Werlyb went bot, Fnatic had a decision to make. Turn to the Baron, go for a fight. But instead, they go for the fight, it falls apart for them, and now SK are back in control of this game.
SK Gaming have got the Poppy ultimate, the Keeper's Verdict. It can disengage the crucial members of Fnatic. Nemesis is looking for a push forward. Huge damage onto Dreams. Inside the pit, this is high. All right, Bwipo's the only person pushed away. Nemesis is using the Shroud to his advantage. Baron down to 2,000. Hilly finds a skewer onto Dreams. Dashes in, looks for the stun. Selfmade fires finds the smite. He gets the Baron for SK Gaming. And now all of a sudden, Bwipo's running for his life. SK are backing away. Teleport is on cooldown, and Broxah's coming to support. SK start to fall behind, but they find a way to secure Baron at 28 minutes.
And it was Fnatic that overcommitted. They made the mistake of getting underneath the tower and allowing SK to find that initial pick, which was more than enough to go for the re-engage. All of the ultis came off cooldown that had been used in the prior fight that could be used to chase down Fnatic and find the team fight win. So we can see, this is after the initial team fight. A lot of these cooldowns were still slowly coming up, and here Fnatic, they see Werlyb bot, they want to go for a fight. They engage onto Pirean, who's just soaking up so much damage, and here we see Broxah overcommit under the tower. He tries to get a kick onto Dreams, who stopwatches at such a beautiful time to punish Broxah, turn the fight in SK's favor, and then it's Fnatic on the retreat. Baron picked up for SK, and SK now with the goal lead.
Oh, such a good play. Just as I was starting to get nervous for SK Gaming, they do find a great set of plays that give them Baron, and of course they've now started this Baron power play with Shell v Power, and we'll see how much of an advantage it gives them. They've clawed back the gold lead ever so slightly, and with the Baron-empowered minions and a 4-man stack in the mid lane, Werlyb needs to buy a lot of time. He's flashed over Bwipo, kicked him away, but that was not the target you wanted. It does allow SK Gaming to take a tower. It does allow them time onto the inhibitor turret. They will secure this in a moment or two. Broxah's caught himself onto that siege minion, but he decides not to follow through with the resonating strike. That's a stun onto Rekkles! The dive forward! Selfmade and a true shot barrage from Crownshot! Kill Rekkles! Now Bwipo sent into his passive, and Nemesis is trying to stop the rod, but he simply cannot do it. Selfmade, you are a god!
That was insane from Selfmade! He just glided through Fnatic. He had his aim pot set for Rekkles. He found the target and he walks away with the kill. They've got TPs coming through. They're looking to end the game.
They've got themselves Baron buff and cannon minions to work with. Nemesis takes a gigantic chunk of damage. He's running for his life. Crownshot has sent 2 members of Fnatic running. The Ring of Frost is flashed away from. Nemesis escapes with his life. Teleport's being channeled. That's the 3rd in 30 seconds. Nexus turret number 2 is down. The Nexus is being focused. SK Gaming are moments away from taking down Fnatic, the world finalists.
The elation on SK's face after having to remake what looked like a 1 game. After finding that comeback, they take down Fnatic in the first game of the LEC.
Remake be damned! SK Gaming were the better team today. And that was a very, very exciting, impressive start to the 2019 season. One of the most difficult situations, playing against fan favorite Fnatics from a world final and through a remake. And of course, seeing Nemesis hugging his old teammates, 4 out of 5 Mad Lions on the stage today, but 3 of them walk away with a win.
And you can say nothing against SK. This team, they played 2 games today. In game 1, they looked like they were going to get a clean win over Fnatic. And a very unfortunate remake had to happen. They go into game 2, they have to reset. This is the first time on the stage for so many of these players. Yep. And they have a great start. They fumble a little bit in the mid game. Fnatic regain control. You think this is it. Maybe Fnatic take the win, but no. They punish that small mistake, and without a beat, without a drop, SK just goes straight down the mid lane. Perfect Sheepy style, and not only do they add another loss to the record of Hylissang's Pyke, but they find their first win of the LEC Spring Split.
It's the first time back on stage for SK since the summer of 2015, where this organization was relegated. It's the first time for many of these players on the LCS/LEC stage, this caliber of play. It is not the first time that these players have won games and surprised people. I was watching Werlyb just as he walked backstage, and head in his hands, ecstatic. This is a guy who was at one point in time only a Jax player, and he's come back stronger than ever. He played Sion, he played Poppy, and he was instrumental with Selfmade to pick up the win today.
And many fans were saying, well, you know, for Fnatic, this should still be an S tier, an A tier team coming into the beginning of the split. This should be a team that is still very strong at the beginning. Because they've retained 4 of the 6 members that were at the World Final. And now I'm not saying that the departure of Caps has like broken this team. That's not what I'm saying. But the synergy just seemed a little off right now for Fnatic. And I believe so confidently that they can bounce back. And they've showed a lot of great stuff. Their team fighting is still up there.
Yeah, and of course it's a long split. It's a 9-week regular season. We do have this final fight in Fnatic's base to look at. With a little bit of luck, this will be Selfmade finding that glacial prison onto Rekkles just as he threads the needle. Fnatic were too far forward.
I've never seen a Sejuani do that. In the 2.5 years that I've been a caster for League of Legends, I have never once seen a Sejuani like sidestep and just throw a kind of awkward right angle Sejuani ultimate to hit the crucial target with an immediate follow-up from the rest of the team. Just, that's like, I think that's the best Sejuani player I've ever seen.
It was very good, and it's Selfmade making a statement, right? He has 2 very impressive debut games. 1.5 maybe, here on the LEC stage. And of course, he's going to be my front runner for what I'm about to talk about. Throughout the year, you can select your key player of the game over at LOL Esports on Twitter. We'll also have 1 member of the losing team from every vote, just slightly different from last year. Now, for your first matchup, your options are going to be Selfmade, Crownshot, and Nemesis on his Akali. If it were up to me,
it's Selfmade.
I'd vote for Selfmade. I'm not trying to coerce you guys, but you can decide. Also, I just want to quickly look forward a little bit. We are a little delayed, but today in Game 3, Attila and Upset will continue their rivalry. It is Vitality versus Schalke, a rematch of last summer's semifinals. The big question is, are you on Team Attila or Team Upset? That's the other vote I would like you to go and answer, because I'm going to do a little bit of a speech about them earlier. At LOL Esports, Team Attila or Team Upset?
I'm an unbiased caster. I have no teams.
Lame. All right, with a 10-man roster and a massive training facility, the UK underdogs XL Esports, they're rolling hot coming into your first split. You'll learn more about them and hear from Selfmade right after this break. We will be welcoming in the 2019 League of Legends European Championship with one motto and one thing to say. We are EU, and we are here to be feared.
Once again, going up towards the top side.
All right, Arctic Assault comes out. The flail connects too. The stun, the passive, the knockback. Werlyb and Selfmade have a fantastic duo synergy. Oh man, I hate it when Sejuani and Braum get together. Glacial Prison, Glacial Fissure, Glacial Augment, Glacial kills. Broxah's low, but it's already down. Pirean's out for the count. Nemesis looking to hunt a little bit more as Hylissang re-engages, finds the stun onto Werlyb. Fnatic get 3 quick kills in the mid lane. Werlyb continues to chase. His keeper's vertical be available so soon. The beautiful stun. Rekkles is down. Broxah's caught himself onto that siege minion, but he decides not to follow through with the resonating strike. That's a stun onto Rekkles. The dive forward. Selfmade and a true shot barrage from Crownshot. Kill Rekkles. Nexus turret number 2 is down. The Nexus is being focused. SK Gaming are moments away from taking down Fnatic.